you get in the end zone, this is what you got to do. Show Zane, huh? Make sure you show Zane how to do it.
No, because I gotta. Oh, that's if the Rams win. Hey.
No, heck no.
Because
y'all don't even have a song.
So anybody want to know how to do the big step in Valor? You want to teach them how to do it?
You just go out and in.
So act like you're exactly.
Oh, act
squatting.
Like you're rowing a boat.
I don't
know. Yeah, act like you're doing a sit up or something.
If you had to teach a financial, I was gonna say financially, physically disabled. No, not physically disabled, but rhythm disabled person.
Yeah. Or like you're rowing, like
just rowing. Okay.
For our Congolese that like to row, row boats.
Oh, nah. So Congolese like to roll other stuff. That's all. You get Congolese listeners. Put the hip into it.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Voilà, tu pousses les bassins. Et deux. Et maintenant, tu dois mettre un peu de stop. You know, you can't be too Congolese. You gotta, hey.
Big step in.
Okay.
Love it.
All right, guys, we're going to get back to this podcast. Let's get back to what we came here for. Welcome back to the Master's Peace podcast. This is my British accent. This is your host. I know it's terrible, but just work with me here. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, yeah. Welcome back to the Master's Peace podcast. This is your host, Elizabeth Tubajika. We're actually back from a wonderful series. If you guys watched the whole video, you can catch it on YouTube, and you can catch it also on podcasts, all streaming platforms like Spotify or Apple. We talked about relationships. We talked about being 30. We talked about how to just live your best life and then get married. She will tell you more. I'm Elizabeth, je suis Elisabeth. I will not be speaking French for all the speaking French people that ask me to. It's just too much right now. It's a little challenge too, but you know. But welcome back to this episode. We're actually going to talk more about velour, and you know, we talked about labor, we talked about pregnancy, and for those who wanted to know, this episode is really just about putting yourself first. And velour, welcome back.
Thank you.
Bienvenue.
Thank you.
Je suis contente de te voir, ma soeur.
Moi aussi, je suis contente.
Je suis très contente de me voir. 243 now. You know, being in LA, les Congolais, ils sont pas là. We're not here.
Spread out.
We're not. Yeah, we're far out, spread out. So when you see a Congolese, you welcome them. You say hi. You invite them.
You say hi.
You make some fufu for them.
You eat fufu, no fork.
Hey. You eat fufu. Did you say with a fork?
Fufu, no fork.
No forks. That's important.
Hashtag team fufu, no fork.
Hashtag. That will legitimize your Congolese.
Yes.
That should be the episode.
I'd be curious how many of your watchers watch. Like, put a poll.
You know what?
Fufu with a fork or no fork?
Do you eat fufu with a fork or do you eat fufu with your bare hands? I'm judging you, but
I'm big judging.
I'm judging. I'm just letting you know. Comments below. It's a safe space, but I'm judging you.
Not really. It's not safe at all.
Not really.
It's not safe for fufu with a fork.
You need to. C'est sauvage, quoi. Tu vois? It's a savage experience. You just dig your hands.
Yep.
Tu prends un tongue là, tu mets dans le pondou,
Or you can big step with the fufu.
Le magaïou, le madesso.
It's always the fumba for me. It's the fumba for me. I love fumba.
Really?
Yes.
Fumba tastes like grass.
I don't know. I just love it.
I feel like it's just
weird.
grass and they put palm oil.
I guess I'm a grassy nigga.
Well,
then.
you
I just like it. Sorry, period.
You was a grassy nigga. I'm gonna call you that.
Please.
No, you're a true quinoa. That's the quinoa thing. Quinoa people love their fumba. I'm team pondu.
I love pondu too, and it's weird because I don't even like peanut butter, but I love fumba.
You can only eat it with fufu. You can't eat it with rice.
Yeah,
or
that's
anything
true.
Else.
That's true. Yeah.
And I feel like in Ndakala.
Yeah.
Do you eat it with? What do you eat fumba with? What kind of meat?
Honestly, I just eat it with just fufu.
Chicken or whatever. Oh,
no,
just
fumba.
Just
or maybe like some beef or some chicken, maybe. But I'm okay with just straight up.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you make fumba?
No.
Okay. I remember when my mom came. You were like, "Can you ask her to
make me some fumba?"
She ain't gonna make that. I was like, I can get you some pondu, but like, we ain't about that fumba life.
That's all right.
Okay,
I'll survive.
Next time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, your husband don't eat.
He'll eat.
Has he eaten Congolese food yet? When you went to your families?
Yes.
Do I want to give me that?
Yeah.
You're like, I was like, shouldn't I be talking about you? She's said,
Yeah, no, he's eating
eating
Congolese food.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. He eats whatever I
was
make
supposed to
him,
invite him to make
and he
some-
eats it at my family's
Yeah,
house too.
we're gonna make him. I'm gonna get some pondu. I told him I was gonna make
He's
some.
not. He's not picky with food. As long as there's no tomatoes.
He's very open minded,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah, no.
Anyways,
I was just shocked why you asked me that. Of course, I'm Congolese. Why would he not eat it?
No. I was asking if he had eaten some at your house.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm Congolese.
No,
He's
of
my
course you're
fiance.
Congolese, but
Why would he not eat it?
Girl, you know some people be picky. They be like,
Girl, no, that's not me.
It's like saying you're not. But I know you like soul food, anyways.
I
Do you like soul food?
everything?
You
I
like everything?
Yes.
Oh yeah. How's she eating good?
It's going great. I need to get back. I have so much content in my phone.
She does.
And
She
I
has
just
an
don't
Instagram
post
page called She
anything.
Eating Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because I've been
yeah.
looking at getting inspiration while I was
Oh.
pregnant, just sitting at the house. I'm like, look at her.
Yes.
I said, girl, I'm gonna go there. You
I
be
need
seeing
to
my
post.
messages.
It's a lot of work. Like I give mad respect to content creators.
It's a lot of
'cause
work.
I just
Thank
and I
you.
have so much like in my phone, and I just taking the effort of like actually putting it on the page.
But
is
you
just
got
so
a whole life
much.
outside of you're not.
Yeah.
You're a whole nurse. Yeah.
I wish I could focus more on it, but I'm like.
But it's like a hobby. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
It's all good. Just post whatever you eat. Like, oh,
Okay.
she eating good. Yeah. But anyways,
Yes.
girl, we're gonna get back to the topic that we were talking
Let's
about.
do it.
And I just wanted to start off like asking you, because we ended the last conversation talking about freezing eggs, what options women have, and that was very insightful. And if you guys want to know more about, just knowing your rights, knowing your options, having a system when it comes to obstetrics, and did I say it right? Obstetrics?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a tongue twister
Obstetrics.
for me. Just knowing your rights, and what your options are through the whole process of wanting to give birth or being pregnant, etc. We're gonna get to that. But I wanted to know, because it's been a crazy past 2 years with the pandemic. We've been in it for like 2 years, going on 3 now. And there's a lot of data out there talking about people either, I'm not encouraging anybody to do this, but a lot of people leaving their jobs because of mental health, finding things that make them happy. What would be, because I know you are, if you watched the last episode, she's a traveling nurse and she just started her own business. What would you say, how was it like for you being in the healthcare, working, and then mentally, like dealing with everything that was going on last year? How was it, or last year and the previous year? How was it like for you? How did you deal with that mentally?
It was,
honestly,
at first it was good. It was easy. It felt like you were kind of like giving back to the community and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was good.
like feeling like you contributed to this whole COVID situation. Okay.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it definitely was hard going to work and seeing people in those circumstances. You go from work, or being like, because working labor and delivery 9 times out of 10, it's like the best reason to be in the hospital, right? You're having a baby, it's a happy time, right? But now you add like the COVID factor. You have pregnant women getting sick. You have pregnant women on ventilators. You've got pregnant women that literally can't breathe, and it's turned into a whole atmosphere that it has never been before, right? So that was
I've
really
always
hard.
wanted to ask you that part, like how it is with, because you're already dealing with such a crucial circumstance,
Right.
and then adding COVID
Right, on top of it.
on top. Did you have any cases where you heard of women dying?
Oh, yeah.
Are
Yeah,
you
plenty.
serious? And their children?
Absolutely. Sometimes both. It just kind of depends. Because there were a lot of cases of women that would get it, and if you get it, depending on the time that you get it, sometimes your baby's...
Was it more so when it first came out, or is it still kind of like an ongoing thing?
I would say more so when it first came
first
out,
year,
but it's
okay.
definitely still ongoing, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But it just kind of depends on when you get it and how bad it hits you, and if we can save the baby, we try, but if not, because we've had women that get it and they're before like viability. So if
Yeah.
your baby comes out like before. Typically, if your baby can make it to 24 weeks of gestation, then typically we can do things like in the NICU and things like that to at least baby
That's like
keep
the
baby
mark.
in the NICU and keep
rate.
him or her and keep the survival rate. But if all of this happens before the 24 weeks, then there's nothing you can really do, right? So that's the hard part, that it kind of like affects the whole systemic effect. And then they were finding, and I think the hard part with COVID is the fact that everyone's learning on the go, because nobody's ever experienced this, right? So what we think week 1, by week 2 it's changed, and what we think week 2, by week 3 it's changed, and then at month 6 you can look back and be like, oh, this is why this was happening. But everyone's learning on the go, so it's like you're just doing the best you can, and you hope that it works out. You treat the symptoms, you do the best you can. But now that we've been like a couple years in, we are seeing that people that had COVID, even if they didn't, during their pregnancy, even if they didn't have it to a level of where they had to go to the hospital, we found that there's even like changes in their placenta and the blood flow and the circulation of the placenta, putting their, so essentially that, like, your baby gets oxygen through your blood flow of the placenta. And we found that women that had COVID sometime during their pregnancy, they had little clots and little scars on their placenta.
Interesting.
And so that actually affected the blood flow and the amount of oxygen getting to baby. So they're saying that even if you didn't have like
a very
serious case, or where you had to go to the hospital, that you still kind of increase your risk of stillbirth just by having the COVID diagnosis. And they still don't know why or how to, know who's gonna get, who's get it. Like they just don't know. So it's hard, because it's like there's still a lot of research being done, and we're still piecing the puzzle, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. So it's like,
it's crazy.
Yep.
And coming from someone, I told you I had COVID when I was pregnant, and just not knowing what I know now. Obviously, vaccines weren't available. Were they available? I think they were new, and at that point, it was kind of like, should I take it? They weren't like forcing it. But just that alone, because when you're a pregnant woman, you obviously lose breath just because the baby's pushing on your entire diaphragm. And then like I remember like running out of, and I talked about this in the previous episode, but it's to me, it's just like, man, it's a blessing that everything went well, because a while ago I had a friend that sent me a GoFundMe page of one of her friends who didn't get the vaccine, and when she gave birth, she didn't make it, the baby made it.
Oh wow. Really? That's so sad. I hate that.
I know. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
So I was gonna ask, like, for you, like, I know you had moved from NOLA, and this episode, I really wanted to talk about like kind of your journey, overcoming obstacles, and kind of like putting yourself first. Which I think starting a business and working on your mental health or whatever it was. And I know you also take, I don't want to say monthly breaks, but
I do. I wish I could.
You like, because you're currently not working.
Yeah, I'm currently not working.
And talk about the importance of like, let's just talk about like, how did you handle? How was this whole thing for you? Because there's the pandemic for everybody, but then you're going to work and then you're seeing this. What would you? How was it like, and how did you kind of overcome that mentally?
No, I get it. I think it's just that whole factor of hearing something is totally different from seeing something.
It.
Like even with anything, like even when you talk about anything going on in the world, like you hear about it and you're like, oh dang, that sucks. But then to actually see it, it's like it just hits you in the face like that. It makes it, I guess, quote unquote, more real. Because I think that there was a lot of people, even a lot of times with the vaccine, like there was a lot of people that when it hit home more, then that's when they're like, oh, maybe we should get the vaccine. But it was like, it's not that they didn't know about it prior, but it's different to hear it and then to actually see how it could potentially affect you and hit home for you. So with the hospital environment, it was rough because
you're in there, you're seeing it.
Yeah, like literally seeing it,
Yeah.
seeing the effects of how quickly people deteriorate, how someone could be talking to me like this one day and you go to check on them the next day and they're literally a vegetable with a tube down their nose, you know what I mean? Or down their throat.
Yeah.
So, and then just knowing that there's very minimal control factor because you can have two people and you do the same exact thing and they respond totally different, but they have the same exact virus, you know?
Yeah.
So it's hard, and it's hard to be that. I think, like, as a practitioner, you want to be able to provide that, like, reassurance to someone, and the fact that you can't with 100% certainty provide the reassurance. So that's the hard part for me.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, I want to be able to say, like, you know what, you've done A, B, C, and D, so this is we expect X, Y, Z. But with COVID, you can't do that, you know? So it's just a lot of the control factor that we are used to having, you don't have.
Yeah.
And
so
then
you just have to kind of keep things very black and white with them.
You have to keep it very black and white.
There's a lot of gray areas.
There is a lot of gray.
No control
over. But
yeah.
most people, you know, you go to your doctor, you want to hear certainties.
Yeah.
So it's not...
Listen.
Yeah, it's with our culture, our Western culture, it's not acceptable to, like, be like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like there's 50-50 chance. We don't know. We'll see. We'll take it day by day. That's not the type of certainties that people want to hear.
Yeah.
But it's like that's the truth at that point. You
and
know?
you can't.
Yeah, you can't lie. I mean, there's some
also,
practitioners that will.
Yeah.
But
really?
That's on them.
That like
absolutely. I mean,
legal situation. Well, that's another story.
It is, but
yeah,
you know, some people are more. They wanted to hear what they want to hear,
and they give you what you want to hear.
Give you what you want to hear and hope for the best. But I'm not that type of person.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna say what it is, and you take it or leave
I think
it.
People respect that. They want to hear.
Yeah.
And just talking about the whole pregnancy process, because I went through that last year. Little child. Shout out to all who run the world.
Girls.
Okay, because listen, no, look, y'all know it's true. No, because like what the woman's body goes through, like, and then, you know, I want to talk to you about that because just going to like your OBGYN and having your monthly appointments and hearing the bad news sometimes because you have to hear, you know, there's so many things that happen in your body that they don't prepare you for that. They don't prepare you. They tell you it's going to be hard, blah, blah, blah. And this is outside of just labor and delivery. This is
just
the whole incubation process. Yeah.
Incubation.
Like, listen. And I like to keep it real. And I'm going to, get your thoughts on that. I'm not going to be the one to be like, I'll probably do a podcast on my delivery experience because a lot of people ask me like, you just go not talk about any of that. Maybe one day I'll talk about that. But, I had a hard delivery. It was, I'm not about to say, this whole process was beautiful. Like, there's no need to fake it, Some people, like, have a whole, no morning sickness, no anything, but mine was hard. And I was going to ask you about prenatal depression, too, because a lot of women don't know about that. Like, I dealt with that because it's just, like, hormonal imbalances and all of that, but I think it's so important to have like someone guide you through that.
Yeah, definitely.
And just like knowing what to expect when you do get pregnant, besides like the registry and your baby shower and like how that's gonna be and like what clothes your kids are gonna have. There's so much process that goes into that that a lot of women. Some of my friends are getting pregnant and stuff, and maybe this episode will be helpful for you. So I wanted to ask
definitely
someone who's in that field, and you brought up like all the gray areas and stuff. Like, what would you advise a woman that's getting ready to, who wants a child, who's planning, this is outside of if you want to know about freezing eggs, that's the last episode, right? Not that part. That's a whole different development process. But like, what would you advise women that, and I'm sure you want some kids in the future, like what would you advise them or what would you do like when you're planning to get pregnant? Because you know so much of the ins and out and the in between, like, like the diagnosis you get and how women should be ready mentally. Because we have our birth plan. We have our ideas and what we think it should be.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
what's a proper like mental expectation
mental
for the process.
expectation. Yeah, no, definitely. I would say, first and foremost, if you're planning pregnancy, I would definitely, and I mentioned this on the last episode, I would definitely try to go ahead and start taking your vitamins, at least a multivitamin.
How far
but
off should you
preferably,
start?
it takes 3 months for your body to actually take effect. 3 months of taking anything for it to really affect your body as far as vitamins go. So like when you go like to those vitamins like over the counter and you see like an iron pill or you see this and you see that, you have to be taking it consistently for 3 months for it to actually affect your body. So I would say definitely at least 3 months in advance to start taking those things.
So does it not take effect like when you're? I think I started taking it after I found out I was pregnant.
When you're pregnant, I mean, it's better to do something than nothing.
But it's more effective when
it's more
before,
effective when it's
3 months prior.
already in your system and your body's doing what it needs to be done based off of those nutrients.
Interesting. Okay.
Prior.
Yeah.
Or but something is definitely better than nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times too with pregnancy is because of cravings, because of nausea, because of this and that, it's hard to rely on that person to get all of the nutrients that they're supposed to get. Yeah. So even if you can just take a vitamin here and there during the pregnancy, that's definitely way better than nothing. But ideally, like getting that all into your system prior and definitely like getting as much nutrition as you can during the pregnancy, like is going to be the best bet as far as like just providing that healthy atmosphere for baby to grow and stuff like that. So,
and if you guys have any questions on this, feel free to like comment on the bottom. We'll definitely send those questions over to Mrs. Pashi. But as far as you talking about all of that and like just taking the vitamins prior, what are some of the questions they should be asking? Some people get doulas. What are your recommendations? Some people get. I had a birthing class ish. I think that's could be separate from a doula. Or sometimes you can have it all together. It was actually a certified doula that was doing it.
Gotcha.
And then some people choose not to do that. Like what are some of the recommendations you would give women to have a good birthing experience?
Got you. Okay. I would say you can go about this one of two ways. I would say either research the hospital that you want to deliver at and then find an obstetrician that goes through that hospital, or focus in on the obstetrician that you want, the OB doctor or practitioner that you would like, and then see where they deliver and then see what services go along with what the place that you're already going. Because there's some places that already, like certain hospitals, they already provide midwives and doulas for you. And there's certain doctor's offices that have those services within their facility. So, you might be like saving yourself a few steps by just going ahead and doing that research prior. And then also I think it's important like to kind of know what you want for your birth. Like if you know that you want to your goal is an unmedicated birth, then you may want to go the route of going to a hospital where all their birthing rooms have tubs, or they have like a tub room, or they're more likely to have what's called intermittent fetal monitoring, where they don't have you hooked up to the monitors continuously. So they already have those environments that are geared towards women that want to have an unmedicated birth. So it's just kind of knowing like what route you want to go. Definitely like not all hospitals, their labor and delivery and birthing units aren't all the same. So I definitely recommend that route, honestly, is going like for the hospital that you feel is going to be that their care is going to be the best fit for the type of birth that you're envisioning for yourself. Because having a good doctor is amazing, but at the end of the day, 99%, that doctor's just there to deliver. I mean, they're there to definitely follow you along the way.
They think that the same doctor, even your OB may not be the one delivering you too. And it's really going to be about the culture of the hospital and those nurses that are going to be taking care of you. Because usually, even like when you start pushing, it's the nurse that's going to be pushing with you most of the part, and the doctor's going to be coming in at the end just to catch the baby. So not downplaying the fact. I mean, it is important to have a doctor that you trust, because that's the person that's going to be doing all the testing and catching things and giving you that advice along the way. But also I would say it's almost 50-50, because what you remember about your birthing experience is going to be mostly based off of the hospital that you deliver at. That's true.
So definitely going that route. And then also just doing your research, because there's a lot of times there's different types of certifications. So when you're looking up like these doulas, make sure that you try to find someone that has that you can contact. Like if it's someone that you can't speak to verbally,
Oh, yeah.
why is that? Like
There's no
unfortunately there's a lot of
communication.
scammers out here, right?
Lord,
So you need to
listen.
do your research.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's someone that you get
That you
that you like
can
their
see
personality.
physically,
Yeah,
probably.
that you
Yeah.
can see physically. You like their personality. You that their goal is mirrors your goal.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to make calls and have consultations and then maybe say, hey, you know what, I don't think this is a good fit or
yeah.
whatever. Word of mouth is also great.
Yeah.
Like if you know someone that has used a doula, ask them about their experience and the pros and the cons, because a lot of times there's doulas that either like the personalities don't match, or maybe they aren't there as much as you would like, or maybe they're not there, or they're there too much. Like I've had some experiences where like the couple
they're
is
very,
like, yeah,
like in
they're-
your okay.
yeah, and like
So
the
I was
couple
told
they
that
want.
a lot of hospitals don't like doulas.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
It honestly depends on the doula,
Yeah.
honestly, because it's the person, right?
Okay.
So the doulas, we like to look at them as like part of the healthcare team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of doulas will sometimes, and not always, I've worked with a lot of good doulas, but
Yeah.
there's sometimes doulas that have that approach of it's me against them.
Uh-huh.
Like they're going to want you to do this, but I'm telling you to do this.
Gotcha.
And so that's the type of doulas that like get that bad rep, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, yes, like, you know, we want to work with your birth plan and everything like that, but sometimes the safety of the baby and things are going to take priority over which side you want to lay
Exactly.
on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, you know,
may want a holistic approach, but this is going to be a
but
medical
this
issue.
is medically what we
Yeah,
need to do
gotcha.
right now. So
Yeah.
it's like we want it to be more of a cohesive, like teamwork environment, instead of a us against them approach of like, ooh, hospitals bad,
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. So
it's funny because with
Yeah.
having a doula, it's kind of like she kind of like said this little like, watch out, you
Yeah.
know, they may want to push you and like, you know, or say like, I don't know what your thoughts are. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's good to have two opinions. and
yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
But she was more like, you know, try not to get a doula or a midwife that's at the hospital.
Oh
Because
yeah.
she's going to try to push the hospital's views. Where if you're looking for a holistic
Yeah.
approach,
Yeah.
you know, that
But-
may be different.
And I could get that for
Okay.
some hospitals, but you also have to keep in mind that if a hospital doesn't already have a holistic approach, then they're just not going to have doulas.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
And then with any hospital, any facility, anybody, you're always going to always have to keep reiterating what you want and what your plan is, even if you do get a doula that's not at the hospital, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
that's-
it's all,
yeah.
you always want to like have that open
So
line
it's
of
more
conversation.
just about the environment, the culture of the hospital.
The culture of the
basically.
hospital, yeah. And I've had so many like doulas and stuff that I've worked with, and they're just like, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing that." Like shocked in a good way, because they already have this misconception that things are gonna be bad. Like, you know, I had like, for example, this is actually happened on one of my like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
A patient, she wanted to push like on her hands and knees or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was able to keep her baby on the monitor, and her baby wasn't having any signs of distress the whole labor.
So she didn't have any.
She did have an epidural. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I was
She
not
had an
given that.
epidural. She had a doula,
Interesting.
and her baby wasn't having any signs of distress on the monitor.
Uh-huh.
So and she had movement of her legs. So I let her
'Cause they
push on
told-
her
they
hands
told
and
us we
knees.
couldn't do that.
Yeah, and her
Yeah.
doula was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you. I thought for sure you weren't going to let her do it." And I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm always willing to let my patients try. If
Yeah.
you can move your knees, your
Yeah.
legs,
Yeah.
and your baby's heart rate is fine,
Yeah.
I'm willing to work with that.
Yeah.
But if you can't move your legs, or if baby's already showing signs of distress, then that's my
That's a
first
risk.
priority.
Yeah.
So it's like
So
a
it's
lot of
more
times
about mobility, how much you
exactly
can feel.
how much you can feel, and so I'm willing to try. But now again, like, not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Some people don't have
Are
the
different,
the
right.
patience to even try. Or sometimes I think a lot of times as providers, and I tried not to do this, I think sometimes we don't explain things thoroughly. It's like we're so focused on what we want to do.
Yeah.
And we don't know the why.
Absolutely.
So then people go home thinking like, oh, they wouldn't let me push on their hands and knees, but nobody explained like, well, we really want to monitor the baby's heartbeat. The baby's been showing us signs of distress. And with you in that position, I can't keep the baby on continuously. So I don't know for 100% fact
Yeah.
that
They don't
baby's
explain
okay.
why.
They don't explain the
Yeah,
why. And I think that that's
exactly.
the hard part. So it's
Yeah.
like, once you explain the why, most
Yeah.
patients and most doulas are understanding of why of doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Or even on the flip side, like I've had patients, oh, I want to push on my hands and knees. Well, you have an epidural, but we'll try. And then they try to get on their hands and knees and they fall, and you're like, hey.
That's why.
And then you put, so then it's like, you know, sometimes you got to treat like a toddler, like, okay, we'll try it. And then you can't, and you're like, hey, like, but at least you tried, you know what I mean? And so that's one of the things that I try.
But not all nurses are like you.
Exactly. Not everybody. And then again, like, I think it's the culture of like where
the hospital
where I was trained too, because I was trained in a family birthing center where a lot of times it was mimicking like a home birth, basically. So, so I think that's why another reason why it's really important to do research on that, on the hospital that you're going to be working at. And then don't be afraid to ask for a new nurse. Like, if it's like, you know, if you feel like you're not being heard, don't be afraid to ask for a new nurse, and just always put yourself and your wants and your desires first. Because like on the flip side of it, I was going to say, I had a patient that, she had a doula, but she felt like her doula was like hovering too much. She's like, I feel like I haven't had like one-on-one, you know, family time with my baby because my doula has just been right there in my face the whole time, you know? So it's like you want to express to your doula.
So this was a different situation where you're like,
where the doula was too involved.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, you want to have set those boundaries, you know, beforehand if possible. But sometimes you don't know what you want until you're in that moment.
Or at least your first pregnancy. Then you know after it's like, okay, I know what to do.
Yeah, and everyone's style is different. So that doula may be more, like maybe to her she felt like that's what she wanted and she was helping. But in actuality, it's like,
in the actual delivery process, it was annoying. Because your emotions are, man.
I bet.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, I didn't have a doula because, listen, when she sent me her prices, I was like,
they don't play.
But I do want to, you know, transition just over to your business and what you're starting, because I think it was very helpful just having courses and knowledge prior to delivery.
Definitely,
So, I think, like, as you know, what was really helpful, like you mentioned, a lot of women just don't know.
Definitely.
Or they don't know why the hospital's saying no to certain things. So it's good to know what your rights are.
Definitely.
So you can test it and then, or ask why not.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, how far can I go before I get this?
Yeah,
or,
for sure.
you know, do I have to get induced? Can I wait? You know, how long will you give me? Because obviously they'll tell you 40 weeks period, whatever. Sorry, the baby's coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to talk about your services. Can you talk a little bit about your business?
Sure.
Shout out to you, first of all. Let's talk about how you started or why you started to... Why you decided to start this business. Because obviously she's starting a business that's going to offer obstetric care for...
Yes.
Is it postpartum and prenatal, right?
It's gonna be it's for pregnant and postpartum women up to a year postpartum.
Okay.
So it's called Peas and Pods Fitness and Wellness Center.
That's cute.
Thank you. I want to call it PIPS for short, just like the acronym.
PIPS is cute.
Yeah, but it's Peas and Pods. So Fitness and Wellness Center was like the overall vision. www. pipsperinatal.com. So can we add it to the
on the description
markers?
below? We'll add it, absolutely.
Yeah, so www.pipsperinatal.com. So it kind of was birthed over like the years of just working, and just kind of you start to hear like the complaints, and once you hear like the same complaints and concerns over and over, you're like, okay, this must be a void, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times
some of those concerns and complaints?
Mostly based off of misinformation, not enough information, or just feeling rushed through appointments. Or feeling rushed through the whole process.
Through like your appointments with your doctor.
Feeling rushed through your appointments with your doctor, feeling like your provider wasn't accessible, feeling like you were kind of alone in the situations by yourself to do your own research and to come to your own conclusions.
Because a lot of people don't have family or maybe people that have been in that experience to kind of talk to them about it.
Absolutely. And that's why I really do promote like showing. I mean, yes, pregnancy is awesome and it's amazing and it's beautiful and it's wonderful and there's a lot of good parts of it, but if you have like 3 or 4 close girlfriends, I always recommend like tell them the real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let them know, because I think
expectation versus like, because
I think everyone wants to talk about like, oh, when I saw the baby and held the baby,
and that is the beautiful part.
It's great.
But prior to that,
but it's like you didn't tell them about the hemorrhoids that you got while you was pushing.
Listen.
So then when it happens, they don't feel like they're this freak by themselves.
Yeah. All those other
exactly. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that is normal, but it's because we don't talk about it
Yeah.
openly.
We don't normalize.
So then, and it does transition into leading to some of the like depression and like anxieties. You're like, is this normal? Is this not normal? Why me? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like
Why am I
I'm
feeling
alone.
this
I'm by
way?
myself.
Yeah.
So with the wellness center, I wanted to have that community aspect of like pregnant women, all pregnant women, like, you know, you get there, you may meet someone that's around the same due date as you. It can be like as simple as just somewhere to work out where you don't feel weird because you have a growing belly or whatever. And I want to have like
a whole
fitness
experience, basically.
Exactly. And then having like trimester based fitness classes, because what's safe to do when you're 10 weeks isn't safe to do when you're 30 weeks, or you know, and having like
first
guided
trimester you can't do anything, right?
Exactly. And having like guided workouts, and but not just the whole physical aspect, but I also want it to be more of a holistic approach, because that's all stuff that will help to kind of help the pregnancy to be the best that it can be, like having like that positive environment, you know, encouraging you around you. Nutrition.
Especially if you don't have that
right
where you are.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like, so even like nutrition, even like I'm incorporating like a prayer room and things like that, or even like a prayer box where we can have a community of people like praying for people or people's situations, or it could even be like an anonymous things like that. So you do have like some sort of a sense of community, so you don't feel like you're completely alone in what's going on and all the changes in your body and everything like that. But I kind of had the vision for this for a while, maybe like 4 or 5 years. And then like in 2019, I developed like the LLC and started really putting that vision to work. And then of course 2020 came, COVID, right?
So that was really the push.
2020 kind of halted
Slowed it down?
Yeah,
Okay.
2020 halted it because I can't have like
it halted a lot of people's, okay.
All the gyms that were already open were closed, so I couldn't open like a new gym, you know? So anyway, so I kind of transitioned now into virtual obstetrical consultation. So it's more so where we can kind of walk you through and guide you through the process of even like making your birthing plan. Like a lot of people don't even know what's the typical options, what can be put on a birthing plan, what should be put on there, there's certain things that you have as options, but if it's not presented as an option, you don't know that you could change those things. So just kind of like being that, from a medical perspective, being that guide for you. And it could be as simple as just, you know, after your appointments, you set up a time to call me and say, hey, they told me that they put me on iron pills, but why? And then we could talk about like what happens, you know.
All those unanswered questions.
Oh yeah, the unanswered questions, or even like, you know, at
because you were doing a lot of free work prior.
I've been doing this. Yes, absolutely. I've been doing this. Yes. And I love my
free
friends.
Consultation.
But yes, I've been doing this. And then it's just like, or, you know, like, oh, I'm having trouble sleeping, but I don't know like what's safe to take for sleep now that I'm pregnant, things like that, you know, because sometimes you don't get the actual updated information with Google or things like that. Or also there could be things
and listen,
in
Google will stress you out too, because there's so much information.
Yes. Absolutely. So just to be like that liaison and that guide. I'm not the business isn't really to take the place of your provider, but it's more so to be like, to work together hand in hand with your provider, to kind of be like that interpreter for the provider, you know. So it's like, okay,
allow you to like be empowered basically with your whole
So your OB will give you like the information, and then we can kind of go more into depths of that. So I was like, okay, so this is happening, this is what we can do to kind of prevent things from getting worse, or this is how we can keep this good thing going. This is what this actually means. This is the pathophysiology behind it, because a lot of women know like, oh, anemia, low iron, everyone gets that when they're pregnant, but some women don't realize that, hey, your baby's counting on your iron count to be a certain level, because your iron is what actually carries the oxygen from your system to baby, to keep baby's heart beating and keep baby growing accurately. So if your iron is low, it can lead to baby's birth weight being low. It can even lead to baby having distress in the heartbeat. It can lead to, in really, really bad situations, it can lead to stillbirth and miscarriage. So a lot of times things that are like catchphrases that are like you hear all the time are kind of desensitized because people don't really know what it actually means and how it can actually affect your system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just so just kind of
Yeah.
being there to give you more of an understanding and so that way you do feel more empowered in your pregnancy. You know exactly what's going on and you're more informed and can formulate your own questions based off of that.
Yeah.
So
Listen, ladies, I know y'all out here getting pregnant because this pandemic ain't going nowhere. So I know I'm just sitting here like, girl, where was you when I was where was this service where you when I was pregnant? But honestly, I think Valoria, she's such an awesome person. She's so loving, and I think you guys definitely need to check this out.
Thank you.
Now, I do want to ask you questions because this is not physical yet. So virtually, how do they expect this communication from you? How does the process start?
Yeah.
From like them applying or booking your services to the entire process with you.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you can book it through the website. I'm going to be hopefully putting on a page on there where you will be able to like select exactly what you want as far as the services go.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes people just want like a little bit of support. They don't want like the full blown. So there's different tiers, and then all the tiers are also customizable. So I'm gonna basically do like a consultation to see what works best for you. I want to we'll definitely at least have one Zoom meeting so that I can see your face and see your smiles and you can see mine
can see her
and things
face
like
if
that.
you like her.
Right? That part, that too. Yeah. And then but for some people, they prefer that face-to-face interaction, and we can do that. But some people are saying, hey, I'm good with just a few phone calls a month instead of always doing the Zoom consultation or or face-to-face consultations, or sometimes there's even packages that include like text communications for minor things, so if it's not like it doesn't have to be like a whole conversation, we can just text back and forth if you want one of the higher packages. So they're all customizable, but those would be like the 3 modes of communication. It'll be either Zoom or phone calls or text messaging.
In the future, I guess face-to-face.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to stay safe.
Exactly.
Omarion is still out there. Let
Right.
me stop Omicron.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so, girl, this has been very, very informative.
Thank you.
Guys, make sure you check her website out. Bookings, she probably will be sold out. So, I don't know how it's going to work.
Keep me busy.
I'm sure she'll let y'all know how that's going to work.
Right.
But we'll have a virtual location. I'm guessing from now it may be in H-Town?
The physical
location.
Yeah, virtually.
But this is
within
open
the US
to
is cool,
anybody.
Yes.
Virtually.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah, but the home for the physical location will be in Houston, Texas. Yes.
H-Town. Okay. Hey, I'm all about Texas.
Yes.
All right, guys. Valor, girl, any words of wisdom to end this conversation? We have just been blessed by her knowledge.
Right.
Guys, if you do have any questions, feel free to, reach out. This is Super Bowl weekend, so I gotta let her go because she gotta go get hurt.
Got to go.
She got to go. I had some questions, but if y'all have questions, please leave it on the comments. And we will definitely direct it to Valor. Check her website out. Yep. And we'll catch y'all later. We might have her back, when she's pregnant. I'm just kidding.
Right?
2023.
We'll
stop.
See.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't know about that.
Right. All right, guys. I will catch y'all later. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.